In this section, we're going to deep dive into tasks and look at the different kinds of tasks that we can create. We'll cover how to create tasks, how to configure tasks, how to work with files in tasks, and how to use templating in our Grunt file. Creating tasks. In this video, we're going to look at how we can create tasks in a little more detail. Grunt is all about running tasks after all. We'll see how to run custom tasks, how to use arguments, how to use asynchronous tasks, and how to work with alias tasks. So let's just open up our grunt file .js. We used the default task to add a simple custom task. So we can run this task at the command line using just the grunt command. We can also give the task a name instead of default. Let's change the first argument to the string running. Now when we want to run the task, we need to use its full name. And we should see the same output as we did previously. Tasks can also receive arguments. Now when we run this task, we can pass an argument using a colon after the task name. Multiple arguments can be passed, separated with multiple colons. Inside the function passed to the register task method, this object represents the task itself. We can get the name of the task from this object if we want. So let's change the task slightly so that it outputs the name of the task instead of the argument. As well as the name of the task, we can also get arguments, flags, and options of the task, and the error count from the this object. There are also several methods that we can use to specify that the task is asynchronous, or to require that another task ran successfully. An alias task is also created with the register task method, but the format is slightly different. We still pass the name of the task as the first argument, but this time the name is just an alias for one or more other tasks. As before, we can pass a description that shows up in the help page as the second argument. This time the third argument is an array of other named tasks. At the moment we've only got a single task, so we just add this as the only item in the array, but we can have as many tasks as we want in there. If any of our tasks are asynchronous, we will need to tell Grunt about this so that it doesn't stop running the task until the task has finished. To do that, we can use Grunt's async method to return a callback function, and then when our task is finished, we can invoke this callback, and that will signal to Grunt that the task has finished. Let's just add this as an example to our first task, the running task, even though it's not actually required. So we just invoke the async method of the this object, and that will return a handle to a callback function for us. And then at the end of the task, we can just invoke this method. Another type of task that we can create is called a multitask. Instead of using the register task method to create this type of task, we instead need to use the register multitask method instead. Multitasks are used when we want to have multiple configurations for the same task. We don't have any configurations yet, but we'll come back and look at multitasks once we do have some. So in this video we looked at custom tasks and alias tasks. We saw how we can pass arguments to tasks from the command line and how these are made available to us inside our tasks. And we also saw how to use the this object inside a task to access certain properties or methods exposed by the task. We also saw how to create aliases that allow us to run an array of multiple tasks using a single alias, and how to signal to Grunt that our task is asynchronous and that it's finished running. In the next video, we'll look at how we can provide configuration for tasks.